Hi, this is Phil O'Keefe. I'm reporting from WNAMM 2011 and for Harmony Central, and here's some of my favorites that I saw today. The Electro-Harmonix talking machine, which is kind of a vocal type sounds for your guitar pedals. I thought that was very interesting. VHT had a new pedal called the V-Drive that I'm really looking forward to trying out, that has some interesting contours and kind of an interesting take on the TS type overdrive sound, and allows you to change the bottom end of it quite a bit. Was absolutely blown away by the Dave Smith and Roger Lynn collaboration on the Tempest drum and rhythm programmer. It's just a killer production machine. You can actually, it's a performance-oriented drum machine. You don't have to stop. You can do anything with this thing. It's amazing. The Moog Slim Fatty, really impressive. Rack mount version of their last synth. The Cush Audio Function Junction and Main Gain monitor controllers, very cool. And finally, the Sonix Fraunhofer plug-in for MP3 conversions was very impressive as well. And with that, I'll hand it off to John.
Great. Thank you, Phil. Today is Saturday, and it was kind of a crazy Saturday, but we managed to survive. I had kind of a mixed bag of a day. I saw some artists, saw some guitar stuff, saw some tech. For example, at the Audio-Technica booth, there was the 2022. It's an XY stereo condenser microphone. It's very distinctive because it's on a long shaft, and at the top are the two capsules in an XY pattern. So you use an XLR cable, but it's not a balanced line. It's got left and right. It's just quite interesting. We caught up with Jon Chappell at the Jamit booth, a very interesting iPad application that takes the original multi-track of classic songs or albums or Jon Chappell material, Alice Cooper material, and you can dial out each track separately, sort of like a Music Minus One, but you can separate it. Speaking of artists, we had the very good fortune to talk to Claudio Sanchez of Coheed and Cambria, very interesting progressive sort of metal kind of fantasy comic book band, but he uses, of all things, Taylor guitars. So we caught up with him at the Taylor booth, gave a great concert, and and he talked some acoustic stuff. Ibanez, speaking of acoustics, and another sort of unusual pairing, Steve Vai has a new acoustic guitar, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got a tree of life along the neck, inlaid, and it's black, and it's not very expensive, so it's a black and brown, very classic looking. Two versions, expensive and an inexpensive version. And one thing that was really interesting that wasn't gear related, Groove Zoo. Watch for it. It's going to be very interesting. We've seen online collaborative efforts before, but not like this. They address the licensing issue first, and they have several systems for, if you're the producer, you can create it, you can parse out rights in terms of percentages. If you're a session player, you can advertise and come in for a cut. And they take a distribution, licensing, payment schedules, contracts, so they've really taken care of that. We're really quite impressed. We think a lot of people will be attracted simply for that reason. So watch for Groove Zoo. Over at the Fishman booth, they have a digital wireless system now, very impressive, as well as another magnetic pickup that sounds as acoustic as any piezo system they or anyone else has come out, and yet it doesn't have that kind of piezo quack to it. So very impressive, and we talked to Larry Fishman about that, so watch for the video. Larry's an interesting guy. Over at Lace Pickups, they're expanding on their Illumitone pickups with a thing called the Bling Bucker, which is just a fancy version of, again, their high current Illumitone pickups. And they also came out with a noiseless P90. P90s are great pickups, but they are essentially single coil, and they are noisy. So Lace came out with a noiseless one, and it's beautiful, and it's good if you like P90s and like the look. And that's what I saw. And with that, I will hand it over to our senior Swedish correspondent, Mats Nermark. Mats?
Thank you, John. Hi, Harmony Central. My day was filled with interesting people and interesting stuff. The most interesting thing I saw was a new pedal from Empress. It's a fuzz and an overdrive and a distortion unit and an EQ, and the best feature is that it has a mixer, so you can mix any degree of fuzz, overdrive and distortion together. And to make it extra interesting, you have low cut and high cut on all those different units. You can use, let's say, fuzz on your bottom end and distortion on your top end. and then you can, you know, shape it extra with a 3-band EQ. Sounded pretty funny actually, and it sounds like a very adventurous product. Then I saw Bolt Amps. They have found a way to get the sweet spot for the amp, for the tube to work independent of volume. Glassworks guitars, they have an interesting concept where every point of the guitar that touches the string is made out of glass. There are glass inserts in the bridge, they have a glass saddle, glass fretboard and glass frets. And Craig and I saw a demo of it, and it actually seems to work and sounds good. It enhances frequency, balance and sustain. Check it out. Then finally we have LSL guitars. They have a new Jerry Donahue Saticoy model with very interesting switching. Wonderful guitars. So over to Craig.
Hello, Harmony Central. So I wanted to come up with 5 things in 5 different categories. I thought I'd do something a little different this time. So for DJs and beats people, the Isotope stutter effect done in conjunction with BT. If you want to make stutter type sounds on all your beats and things like that, slice them up, cut them up, put them together. Got something for the soft synth guys, Wave PPG. Now, what's cool about this is that it takes you through the evolution of the PPG. You can have the version 1.0 with the 8-bit funky aliasing. You can have the 2.2 with the less funky aliasing, but still there, up to the version 3 that's in this model. So I thought that was kind of a clever thing. Now, for the hardware keyboard people, a special event today. Eric Persing is collaborating with the Moog Foundation. He's sponsoring a contest that's going to start on March 15th to help out the Bob Moog Foundation, and the grand prize is a hardware synthesizer that Eric built himself that is extremely cool, based on a Moog type thing, but it has 2 iPad docks, 2 iPod docks. It's just amazing. You'll have to see the video, otherwise you won't believe it. For the recording and production people, we have Universal Audio's FireWire UAD. You don't have to have a PCI or an express card slot anymore, as long as you have a FireWire interface. They have a nice little box where you can run all those UAD plugins, which I just love the sound of. I think they really have the analog thing nailed with that. And then last, and certainly not least, in fact, so far this is kind of my favorite thing of the show. Morpheus, which is a division of XP Audio, which also does the Bolt thing, had a pedal called the Bomber. And this pedal lets you, as a guitar player, go up and down an octave. Now here's the thing. Pitch shifting up and down an octave, we've seen that before. What we haven't seen before is polyphonic pitch shifting that sounds really good. It sounds like you put a Steinberger trans trim on your guitar and you go down an octave and it just sounds like you used a tailpiece. You don't get any of that funky, weird, you know, brrr type sound at the high, or the low stuff, you know, on the low strings. I mean, it really sounds like a guitar. It's really cool. It impressed the heck out of me. Just that somebody actually cracked that pitch shift code and finally got it right. So props to them, man. You guys got to see this. Phil, you will flip out. It will grow hair on your head. It is that cool. So anyway, so that's the latest from the Harmony Central report, and we're going to go off and spend hours in our hotel room watching the little progress bar on the upload move at a snail's pace as our 75 megabyte file takes 3 hours to upload, maybe, assuming it actually gets there. So thank you, Marriott, for that. Thank you, Hilton, which I hear is even worse, and thank you, Anaheim. Thank you, Harmony Central, and we will be back tomorrow, at least I will be, and we will do the highlights then. Thanks for paying attention and enjoy the show.